Mr. Robeson, the next question will be directed to you first. You also heard a question asked of the Board of Education candidates concerning the possibility of closing 2 elementary schools. If the board votes to close Kitzmiller and Bloomington schools, will you as commissioner endorse or challenge that vote? And if so, how?
I would challenge it. I went down and spoke at the hearings there in the public session on the Board of Education, because the communities here, Garrett County, the commissioners over the last years have spent money in each of these communities trying to develop them, trying to build them up. Part of those communities is the schools, those elementaries. When you look at Mountain Lake Park and the children that live there and the comfort of the community that allows those children to start developing stronger community skills without having to be bused for long periods of time. I would have to sit down with the other commissioners and work out what we've got to do to make sure that this short-term crisis of this recession and the problems that we're having aren't making us make knee-jerk decisions that are going to cost those communities what they've worked so hard to try to establish.
Thank you. Mr. Crawford, same question.
Yeah, I think it's pretty tragic and pretty devastating when a community loses its school. It loses a sense of identity. As Eric said, it becomes a disincentive for people to move there. I mean, you're closing the school, you're closing that community down. And I think it points to a larger problem, and that's the lack of economic development within our county. It's a demographic shift. People are moving out. We have an attrition of young people and skilled and professional talent leaving our area, and that's really the underlying emphasis and underlying problem, I think, of why we're now forced to look at closing these schools down. I would challenge the ruling. I think we should leave no option unlooked at. Every option needs to be on the table. These communities need these schools.
Thank you. Mr. Gatto, same question.
I would challenge that decision because I went through consolidation and lost a school when I was actually in 10th grade. We were talking about children K through 6 or K through 8. So I mean, the adverse effect it had during when I was dealt with this, and I was even, like I said, 10th grade versus these young kids. We got to start pumping some money and trying to help these communities out, get them built back up. Like Greg had said, we're losing people, we're losing these things, and that leads back to economics and the way we're doing things, business in Garrett County. So we need to take care of these kids. And again, when we hand these school board money, I mean, what are we doing to track that money and make sure that they're making good decisions? We need to be involved with the commissioners and with the other commissioners, making sure that money's being spent wisely and how it's being spent, not just taking their word for it necessarily, and making sure that we're doing what's best for all of Garrett County, not just certain parts of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Falter.
Education is a fundamental human need, right up there with food, water, and shelter. Spending tens of millions of dollars on projects like the airport upgrade and telling people that schools will be closed, well, that stinks. In the first place, people have been misled into believing that money for those projects couldn't be used for school. Maybe so, but you know what? That's because the previous commissioners had their priorities wrong. But it's not too late. We can still stop them. Don't give up. I can tell you of many bigger projects that were stopped dead in their tracks. People also believe that the school board is all powerful. You want to bet? If they continue talking about school closings, I will donate my first year's commissioner's salary to start a Save the Schools movement. But if you vote me in, we can stop them. It ain't over till it's over, and sometimes not even then.
Thank you. Mr. Welch, same question.
Let me build on the previous responses. I think they laid a pretty good foundation. In my opinion, closing the community schools in an area like this is the result of years of dubious choices, okay, incompetent choices. Board of Education is basically autonomous. However, there are ways commissioners can exercise influence and guide their decisions. My experience as an executive and a manager is sufficient to provide that guidance well within the law. Thank you.
Thank you.